Greetings, Earthlings. I'm back, and the crowd goes back to sleep. Yeah, I don't know how long or triumphant my return is likely to be, but anyway, I thought I'd cover two topics. One is a response to Captain Andy's latest video, which is called Ask the Advice of an Unqualified 20-something, which he talks about the trait of young YouTube partners who are usually quite popular, giving advice to their younger audience, their audience, most of whom are even younger than they are, giving advice which they are, usually quite patently totally unqualified to actually give. Case in point being the whole debacle with Mr. Epstein and suicide and depression, which I could go into, but I won't. It's been dealt with by other people much more thoroughly and much better. So I won't go into that, but I could go into a whole long fucking rant about it and about why what he said was utterly fucking stupid. But anyway, I'll leave that to one side. But Captain Andy was saying he thinks it's to do with people's thinking they have, because they are popular, thinking that gives them some kind of credibility and so forth and so on. I don't think it's entirely that. I think it's exacerbated by that, but I think there is a natural arrogance of youth in people in their early 20s. I will give you an example, purely anecdotal, so take it for what it's worth, but it does actually come from my own life. So, I was there. This genuinely did happen. It's two conversations. When I was in my early 20s, I lived in London, and at the time I lived in a shared house. And one of the people living there happened to be a guy in his mid to late 30s. I thought he was a complete old fart, whatever. And he had this conversation. He said to me during this conversation, "You think you're the big I am, and really you're not. You're only a young guy, you know jack shit about the world and about life, and really about very much at all." And I thought, fucking tosser, what does he know? He's almost fucking dead. I think he was a young whippersnapper now, but, then he was a stupid old fart. And then a few years later, when I was in my mid to late 30s, I was having a conversation with a younger guy in his early 20s, who happened to be my little brother, and during the conversation I said, "You think you're the big I am, but the fact is, you know jack shit about life and about the world, and really about anything much at all." And then it suddenly struck me, oh my God, I've become that guy who, and actually what he said really was true. I knew jack shit when I was in my 20s. I knew jack shit when I was in my 30s. I probably know even jacker shit now that I'm 50. I really have realised how fucking little I know about life or about anything at all. The only thing I know for sure is that I know nothing. But, like I said, that all took place. Those two conversations took place long before YouTube was probably even ever thought of. So it's not YouTube that does it. I think YouTube exacerbates it, and I think a lot of people, because it says, if you've ever read it in YouTube playbook, it says content producers, a good idea is to create videos that people respond to. So getting people to ask you questions elicits a response. So, it's a good way of engaging the audience, and that's where it comes from. And I think combine that with the arrogance of use of someone in their early 20s, and you've got a potentially toxic situation. But like I said, I don't think it's entirely down to YouTube. I think it's the ingredients are already there. It's just YouTube slightly exacerbates the problem. So those are my thoughts on that. Second subject I want to talk about is the whole integration of Google Plus comments into YouTube, and the whole kerfuffle around it, which to a certain extent I can understand. It was badly communicated by Google and YouTube. They didn't really make a very good job of explaining the situation and what was actually going on, and it did look, a lot of people don't understand, it did look like they were being forced, and to a certain extent, yeah, you're being coerced into getting a profile. But, and people said it should be opt-in. Now the thing is, the problem is, for the comment system to work, you can't have an opt-in comment system on a website. It just doesn't work like that. It just, technically, it can't work. Everyone has to be on the same comment system, and in order for the comment system to work, the new one, it has to, everyone has to have a Google Plus profile. Doesn't mean that they have to use it. You can use the comment system without ever going to your Google Plus profile. The thing is that it became in this whole anti-Google Plus thing, which is, like a lot of, people talking a lot of crap and, saying, it's basically a lot of statements coming from pure ignorance, and in certain cases from I would say from bruised egos. And I'll give you an example of this, what I think someone who is anti, I don't like Google Plus. An example would be TJ Kirk, aka the Amazing Atheist. TJ Kirk, to the best of my knowledge, has had a personal Google Plus profile for over a year. And I think, like a lot of the more popular and well-known Google YouTubers were encouraged to get Google Plus profiles, obviously to promote Google Plus. And some of them have made something of this, one prime example being Lamar Wilson, who blogs about tech and stuff. He's quite funny, he does it really humorously, and he's a really good YouTuber. Go and check him out, his channel's a lot of fun. He now has over 1 million, he's now in over 1 million circles on Google Plus. Right, so he's in 1 million circles. Right, so yeah, there's no one's on Google Plus. Right. But that's because he actually went and made the most of it. TJ Kirk, on the other hand, went on to Google Plus, made a profile, but didn't do anything with it. He never posted anything publicly. As far as I know, he never engaged with anyone else's posts. He never sought anyone out. He just sat there and he expected, because he was something special on YouTube, because he was well known and popular on YouTube, he just sat there and expected people to flock to him. And the fact is that most of the people on Google Plus, who the fuck are you? We have no idea who you are. You're a nobody here. Contribute to the community, to the growing, what then was still a burgeoning community. You contribute to it, people will do that. But he didn't do anything. But I think somehow he thought he deserved it. He deserved to get attention without doing anything to warrant it. And I think there were an awful lot of other YouTubers who were also like that. They did exactly the same thing. Like an awful lot of the so-called bloggers who came onto Google Plus did fuck all on it, made no effort to actually find out how it works, to actually engage with what was going on, and then said, "Oh, it's a ghost town, nothing happens here." Yeah, because you didn't fucking circle anyone, you didn't do anything. The thing about Google Plus is your Google Plus is reflective of, you get out of it what you put into it. So to begin with, yeah, it takes a bit of effort. You've got to go and circle people, you know, you have to find people to circle. Because chances are, not everyone you know, maybe no one you know in real life is there, but that's not what Google Plus is about. Google Plus is about finding people who are interested in the same things and post about stuff that you're interested in. It's about, rather than keeping in contact with people you already know, it's about discovering the people that you would like to know. And as for the people who made accusations that it's just a filter algorithm, bollocks, rubbish. That is absolutely, it will just create a filter bubble. Bollocks. It's like no one ever had a filter bubble before the internet. You know, people never ignored things that they didn't like or only read one type of fucking newspaper. Are you fucking naive? I'm not going to use Google Plus, I'm going over to Facebook. What? And you think Facebook is better than Google Plus? Facebook fucking filters everything. Have you ever heard of it? Look up EdgeRank. Everything you see on your stream on Facebook is fucking filtered. You only get to see what Facebook wants you to see, or thinks that you should see. You honestly think it's not filtered? You honestly think they're not doing exactly the same thing, and they're doing it a damn sight more dishonestly than Google does? And I'll tell you why it isn't a filter algorithm, why Google Plus isn't a filter algorithm. It's because you're not following topics, you are following people, and they will post things that you don't necessarily think that you'll be interested in, that you probably might not be, but some of the things that you may not have thought of looking at, they will post stuff because they will not just post about stuff that you were interested in. You know, most people follow me. I have like 15,000 plus followers on Google Plus. Most of them follow me because of my photography, but I post about other things as well. I post videos from YouTube. I comment on videos from YouTube which get shared. Some of those 15,000 people will also watch those videos. And they will be exposed to ideas that they'd never, they might get exposed to ideas and concepts that they'd never thought of before. So that will break them out of their... It's subtle, yeah. But it doesn't necessarily have to be an echo chamber. Google Plus is what you make it. If you put the effort into it, if you put a little bit of effort into it, and I can understand some people, you know, oh well, I can't be bothered. But, you know, in which case, don't make fucking statements about it. You have no valid basis on which to make a judgment about it if you ain't tried it. It's like, no, don't knock it if you ain't tried it. And I've gone on for over 15 minutes now, so I think that's enough. So there you go. Yeah, and that's my triumphant return. When I'll make another video, I have no idea. But yeah. So anyway, rate, comment, subscribe, bloody blah. Circle me on Google Plus because it is very cool if you actually give it a go. So there you go. I'm also on DeviantArt. I'm also, yeah, on Tumblr and on Twitter, if you can find me. I can't be bothered to do any more links, but yeah, I'm all over social media and stuff, mostly photography. There you go, that's it. Bye for now.